Back with me tonight is Josiah Lippincott, Marine vet and contributor to American Mind. Josiah, we had such a huge response to your appearance last night that we kind of had to cut short because of the nature of our breaks, that I had to bring you back. Some of the last bastions of traditionalism in our country, law enforcement, the military, they're being transformed before our very eyes. What's the end goal here in your mind?
Absolutely. That's the perfect question, Laura. Just real quickly, just from the introduction, I am not a combat veteran, though I am a veteran. I served in the Marine Corps for 4 years, but my experience was with the peacetime Marine Corps that's emerged in the post really serious engagements in Afghanistan and Iraq. And you ask about what's the end state of what's happening right now. I think for the military today, it is to keep the money flowing without having to confront the reality of the increasing obsolescence of many of our systems that are designed to win wars that America no longer is fighting. You know, insurgency is just a different type of conflict that our military is not built to defeat.
When you heard that disturbingly frank assessment of our ability to respond militarily to China, and you think we're spending time with generals tweeting about how Hillsdale should come and get you, whatever that means, they silence you, talking about critical race theory, whether we have it or don't have it in the military, China's got to be watching this going, are you kidding me? This is who we're up against?
Absolutely. So one of the difficulties that comes out of this is that our military, a war with China, another nuclear power, is not going to play out the way that our conventional military is designed to address these kinds of conflicts. You know, China is able to manipulate the United States and wage information warfare in a way that's way more effective than anything they can do conventionally. And I think at some level our generals know this. At the beginning of Obama's term, there were 100,000 Chinese students in American universities. By the end of his term, there were 300,000. That's a really serious, if we're serious about confronting China, we need to address the industries that they've taken from us with the assistance of Wall Street. We need to address the fact that we're educating their elite. Laura, every year, 70,000 Americans die of opioid overdose. Those drugs, those fentanyl is made in China, and then it is shipped to Mexico and then smuggled across our border. If our military is serious about addressing chemical warfare against the American people, then we need to concentrate on building a secure border, on defending our national sovereignty, and on restoring industry back to the United States. And that means Twitter spats with civilians and veterans is not the way to go about accomplishing that mission.
This General Donahoe is a real piece of work. I mean, I've got to say, it's embarrassing. It's completely embarrassing. Now, the head of the U.S. Central Command made an announcement over the weekend. Watch.
The United States has increased airstrikes in the support of Afghan forces over the last several days, and we're prepared to continue this heightened level of support in the coming weeks if the Taliban continue their attacks.
Josiah, many are wondering whether the military establishment is going to demand that Joe Biden reverse course on an Afghanistan withdrawal. Is that possibly what's going on here?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of money involved in these wars. I mean, and that's flowing to line the pockets of these defense contractors. When generals are done, where do they go? Straight to the boards of those firms. And so, again, and look, at the end of his term, the military admitted publicly in the news that they had lied to President Trump about troop levels in Syria. Our generals absolutely would do the same thing to Joe Biden, and they probably already have. So what is needed is accountability. Congress has got to get involved. They need to start asking questions. What are these guys doing overseas? And are you telling the truth? Because that cannot be assumed.
Well, I think we're having all these committees on this or that issue, January 6th, or it's, you know, trying to impeach Trump for the second time. And yet we've lost war after war, or at least haven't won war after war. And then we're supposed to be just continuing to write these massive checks.
Absolutely. It's absurd. I mean, Americans have paid a lot of money in taxpayer dollars. We've paid in blood. We need to have accountability on all these fronts. And I would say this, to go back to General Donahoe, that's a guy who graduated from Harvard or has a degree from or won some kind of fellowship from there. And what I would say is I am willing to challenge that guy to a debate on policy, on COVID policy, on foreign policy, and on the military budget. And I'll do it. If he wants to come get me, he can come to Hillsdale himself and come get me here. And I'll extend that invitation to all of our generals and admirals. I will debate your budget in public with you anytime, any place. I'll go to the War College. I'll go to Annapolis. I'll go to West Point. But it's just time. Someone has got to hold these guys accountable. And if Congress isn't going to do it, then it needs to be everyday citizens on social media and in journalism or in some of these publications to just hold our leaders to account.
Josiah, thank you. Laura's having some power difficulties. We are going to get back in touch with her in a moment. This happens in live television.